Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Sasha and this is my year of cakes. I've challenged myself to have some fun in the kitchen, making as many cakes as I can with the goal of 50 and just want to try different things. A little fun hobby for me this year while I'm on mat leave, and it's tasty too. We are coming up close to Easter, so this week, well, you probably know, I already have a title. You can't really go wrong with a carrot cake. Picked up some carrots from our little grocery store, and we are ready to go. I always think of carrot cake when it comes to Easter, so perfect. Let's give this a try. I took a look at a couple different recipes. We're just gonna try something today. I'm not following anyone else's. I'm coming up with this today. So let's see if it works. Let's see if this one turns out. I also have decided that instead of using round cake tins, which you can still do, no problem there, I wanted to do this in a Bundt pan, because I have a Bundt pan. I actually have a few and haven't used this in a while. So I've greased this up. I just used some vegan butter, greased it up, and then I sprinkled some flour, and that will help it from sticking. So hopefully it comes out really easily. Let's get started with our wet ingredients. So we've got a bowl here. Today I'm going to do 1.5 cups of oat milk. I'm making a flax egg today. So a lot of recipes were calling for, if it was a non-vegan recipe, they were calling for eggs. The vegan recipes were calling for flax eggs. I'm guessing there's a reason. I don't know why, but let's do that. So I always have ground flax in my fridge. I put this on my oatmeal. It's a really great source of, I think it's the omega fats. And I just grind it up in my blender. They're little seeds. You can buy this pre-ground at the grocery store. I get a bag of flax seeds. I keep them in the freezer, and then when I need them, I blend them up. The reason why I like to have them in the seed form and blend them myself is that it keeps the nutrients longer doing it that way, versus if they're ground up, you should use them in a shorter period of time. But you buy a big bag, are you really gonna use that much in that period of time? Maybe you will, but I don't. So I do a little bit at a time, run through that, blend them up again. My little spiel on flax. So let's make a flax egg. I have 1 tablespoon of ground flax already in here, and I have 3 tablespoons of water. We're just going to pour the water onto the flax, mix it up, and set it aside. And it will form a bit of like a gelatinous, gloopy substance to mimic an egg. So we'll set that to the side. Back to the wet mixture, and I want to set that aside so it has a bit of time to form the goo. So we can mix this because I'm not doing like the vegan buttermilk today. So just the 1.5 cups of oat milk, we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of vanilla. I have a 3/4 cup of vegetable oil, 3/4 cup of brown sugar. I decided to go with brown sugar today instead of white, just because I think it'll provide a richer flavor to the cake. Time will tell if that is what happens. And a lot of recipes were calling for either pineapple, crushed pineapple, or applesauce, I think to keep it more moist. So we're doing 1/2 cup of applesauce. We'll mix this in. When the egg's ready, I'll add that in and mix it in as well. Combine this. I'm gonna get a whisk. I'm gonna use a whisk. So that is well combined here. We've got this goo forming. You can kind of see that. So I'm gonna just add that in here. Put this to the side. Let's combine our dry ingredients. So I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then here I have 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I would whisk, but I used it there. So I'm just gonna stir this together so that it's incorporated. Mixed in. Now, because it's a carrot cake, you gotta have your spices. I have in here 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ginger, and then 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I find personally nutmeg to be a bit strong, so I like to keep that on a lighter side, but I love cinnamon, I love ginger, and a hint of nutmeg, that's good. Alrighty, now the method of adding the carrots in or the liquid in, we're gonna add the liquid in. Let's do liquid and then carrots. Okay, so all of the wet ingredients we'll add in here. Okay, so that's all added in. Just gonna stir it in. It smells great. Now I have cut it up. I shredded up 2 cups of carrots here. So I'm gonna add them in. I'm just gonna fold them in nicely, and then we're gonna put them in the pan. So every time anyone says fold in, right? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I really need to watch Schitt's Creek again. Such a good show. So we'll fold it in. I mean, I think before watching Schitt's Creek, I don't even know if Matthew would have known what it meant to fold in something. You know, get it all incorporated. Smells delish. Hopefully this bakes well. It smells really good and I already am excited for it. So that is the cake batter. So like I said, I've already prepped my Bundt pan. You can cook this in cake rounds. I was really torn if I should do cake rounds or if I should do the Bundt. I just haven't used this in a while and I just think that that would be really nice. So we're gonna just pour the batter in. You could also add nuts or raisins to this. I opted not to. Matthew takes the cakes into his work. Like if I'm making a cake a week. If we were eating all of that cake, it would just be too much. Too much cake. I have my slice. It's like a nice little treat. We live out in the country. I don't have a cafe I can go to regularly, just walk down the street and grab something. So I have my slice of cake, sometimes 2, and then he takes the cake away and I think about what I want next time. So that's all to say. There's someone at his office that has a nut allergy, so I would have put like walnuts into this. Maybe pecans. What's the right nut? I think walnuts for carrot cake, but obviously I didn't do that because of the allergy. But you could put in like half a cup of crushed walnuts, I think would probably be appropriate. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. I'm already excited. Just that extra seasoning or spices in there. Good, yum. Okay, that's in here. I'm gonna put it in the oven at 350, and I think with the shape of this, it's probably gonna take a bit longer, maybe closer to 45 minutes. I'm gonna set a 30-minute timer and do a toothpick test and see how it's doing at 30, but I think it's gonna take a bit longer. Anyways, this will go in the oven and we'll get working on the frosting. Okay, so cake is in the oven. I am going to make the frosting now. And because I'm doing the Bundt cake, I'm doing half of the frosting that I would usually do because I'll just be covering the top with it. I don't think, you know, I'm not doing 3 layers. I don't need some for the inside and for the top and sides and all that. So I think this should be the right amount. If you don't know already, sometimes I'm making up these recipes on the fly while I'm filming with you. Oftentimes that's the case, especially for fillings. We're just seeing what we're doing. Does that even make sense? We're just, you know, we're just having fun and I'm filming my experiments. I'm not a recipe developer, taster kind of well, I'm a recipe taster. I'm not like a traditional recipe developer who, you know, they spend so much time. It's a craft and it's a skill and it's a full-time job. So I don't have the time for the full-time job. A lot of recipe developers will spend, you know, they'll do rounds and rounds and rounds of testing the recipe before they share it. I am sharing with you just my cooking, and this is very like, you're just here while I'm testing it and we'll see if it works and tastes good. Get to the point, Sasha. We're making frosting. I have a 1/4 cup of vegan butter. I'm doing a cream cheese frosting, so vegan cream cheese doesn't like hold its structure super well when you're making the frosting. It can get quite runny. So what I'm gonna do is whip up this vegan butter. Then I have half a cup of vegan cream cheese I'm using. I haven't used this one yet, so we're trying it. It's the Earth's Own cream cheese. So I'm gonna try that. So I'll whip this up and then I'll add that in and I'll decide how it's looking if I whip it very slowly with some of this or just use a spoon. Then we'll add the sugar, then this will go in the fridge. So let's stop talking about it and just start doing it. So let's whip this up. Oh, and the reason why I'm not using the stand mixer is it's a small amount. I just figured I would do it with this, and you don't always have to use a stand mixer. I don't want to have to pick it up and bring it on the here, so we'll use this. That's whipping together well. Let's add the cream cheese in, and you know what? we'll whip it as well. Yeah, it's actually holding structure quite nice. So this one might be doing okay. I'm gonna do 2 cups of powdered sugar, but because it's a smaller bowl that I'm working with, a smaller amount, I'm gonna do 1/3 of a cup at a time and blend it in. Mix it in, blend it in, you know. I'll scrape down the sides in between, adding more sugar. Okay, I think I'll just do 1 more. So this is 1 cup 2/3. That's looking good. I think that's the trick with vegan cream cheese frosting, is like to keep it from being too runny, you have to add more sugar and chill it in the fridge. So this I think is actually perfect, but I'll give it a taste. Get a little taste, let's see. It's light on the cream cheese flavor. So I think this brand just might not have like that super, it's not super tangy, but it's good. But it's not super tangy. So I might try a different brand next time, but this I think will complement the cake really well. And look at that, it got thick. So, I mean, that's a difference, is that I am getting the thickness, less of that runniness that can happen with cream cheese, vegan cream cheese. So maybe it's a trade-off. But we'll see. I think it'll taste well with the cake. So I'm going to put a cover on this. I'm going to put it in the fridge. I'm going to relax. Eric will be waking up from his nap soon. The cake will be done. We'll let it cool. Then when he naps again, I'll put this on, the frosting on it, and give it a taste. Okay, cake has cooled out of the oven. It was smelling so good while I was baking it. I'm really excited to have some of this. So we're just gonna do a very simple decoration today. And I've got my cream cheese frosting all here ready to go. In this little container, added a bit of the spice mix. So I've got some cinnamon, some ginger, some nutmeg, and some brown sugar that I'll sprinkle on top of the cream cheese frosting. And then I also grated up, like finely grated up some carrots. So I'll sprinkle that as well. So let's decorate. I feel like you can't really go wrong with frosting, right? Especially these cake layers or it's not even layers. This cake's a bit on the thicker side. So I'm just gonna put a bunch. I don't know if I'll fully coat it. You know what, I've got enough frosting. Let's just do it. Well, I should use up what I've got. Some on the inside here. Oh. I'm just trying to like give it a little swirl. It's a rustic finish, right? Does it look rustic enough? I decided not to do the spinner because I was just gonna put it on the top. But clearly in action, I had a different idea. Okay, leave it. So now I could just leave it at that, but I'm going to add on this mixture. I just figured do a little. I'm going to add on some fresh carrots as well. I think this is a nice touch, like adding on some fresh carrots on here. You know it's a carrot cake, you know what you're getting into. All right, I think that's good. I'm gonna take a picture and then have a slice. All right, time to have some of this cake. Let's cut a slice. Let's give it a try. That's nice. Okay, I like the flavors. The texture of the cake is a bit, maybe it's a bit too moist. But it's good though. But I think next time I would maybe try a touch more flour. I was thinking that when I was making it too. I was like, do I do half a cup more flour? But I don't know. No, that tasted good. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like being too critical or thinking about it too much. With that frosting, actually I'm really happy with this. Yeah, and doing all the frosting on it. Because you need frosting. Especially cream cheese frosting. Yeah, I like it. I wasn't sure. I felt like the texture maybe was like a bit too moist. Like maybe it's a bit too, it's not underbaked, but it's very moist. I like the flavors. I'm happy. I've been thinking, cause like, you know, when you make a cake, you make any kind of cake, when you're baking anything, the smell in your house is just so good. And I just have been like wanting to have this. Okay, yeah, I like it. This is such a fun little hobby. Matthew is working from home today, so he's actually downstairs, and I'm going to bring him a slice so he can try it. I wonder if I could turn those into muffins or cupcakes. Would you consider them muffins? Carrot cake. Muffins. Carrot cake. What's the difference? What would make that, what would change it? Between a muffin and a cupcake. I'm not sure. I'm happy with how this turned out. This is good, and that frosting is really good, and I'm glad I decided to cover the whole cake. Anyways, that is my cake for this week. If you want to see what I get up to next week, make sure you're subscribed. If you have an idea for something else you'd like me to try, let me know in the comments. I am also sharing some what I eat in a day style videos, grocery hauls. I'm gonna try and do some meal planning videos, so you can check those out as well. Eric is waking up from his nap, so I gotta go get him. But we will see you next week. Bye.